gawe pada teroris juga bener. Kita gur nyari nafkah, nyari uang mangan, dapat hari ini dimakan besok orang sampai menimbun.
Boleh mana?
Orang sampai nyelengi ngangsur bank gitu sampai kon bayar bungane tok. Itu apa Pak? Karena nggak bisa setor. Bungane tok berjalan ya dilakoni. Kalau kita nggak dagang kan bayar bungane keprimen. Wong nyari uang hari ini buat makan besok, gue sanggup besok kok di kayak teroris kita dijaga wong sakmene akeh. Kalau aku teroris dijaga kayak gini bener. Wong kita wong dagang kok halal kok. Cari itu yang kriminal-kriminal, aja kurang gawean. Kita wong jogong di jogong kayak
Merdeka belum, ditindak saja merdeka.
Suka mati corona, takdir dari Allah daripada mati rak semangan.
Betul.
Dijaga kan sih nomor, Pak.
Iya, sing yakin ayam.
Iya, Pak.
Pasar bebas.
Itu dijaga, mencari uang halal kok.
Lembok-lembok akeh temen, Pak. Tolong digusur. Ada wong dagang, Pak.
Ini nomor apa, Mas?
Nomor. Gusur kabeh.
Anak masang berjalan.
Sekolah,
Ayo sekian temen.
bayar 10.000 sampai double kalau bulan. Nggak melarang mau monggo, mau bangun monggo. Rakyatnya dipikir sih. Anane negara, anane daerah bisa maju. Ini kalau masyarakatnya maju, masyarakatnya semangat, negaranya maju kayak sekali lebih. Kita cari uang halal kok kayak gini.
I have a surprise for our governments who are towing the line. Everything that comes from the World Health Organization, they are falling to the letter. That's a pathetic state of people who don't think. I don't trust people who manufacture a virus and wage biological war, so I won't trust their vaccine. Our opinion, which is subject to the caveat that only Allah knows whether it is true or not, our opinion is that this virus is going to continue for several years. It's not going to stop now. This phenomenon has never existed in human history. It's the first time it's taking place. And therefore that should alert our medical scholars that you should not analyze this subject purely from a viewpoint of medical knowledge. I have a surprise for our governments who are towing the line. Everything that comes from the World Health Organization, they are falling to the letter. So social distancing, face mask, lockdowns, all of this, close the masjid, all of this, everything that comes from the World Health Organization, it looks like a circus to me. What is our way? Are you capable of thinking? I'm just inviting you to think if you have an iota of fidelity to the truth. And the truth comes from the Quran. And the truth comes from He who was sent to teach the Quran. So how would Nabi Muhammad, Allah's blessings be upon him, how would he respond if he was here today in Islamabad? I hope you'll not be offended by my question, because you proclaim your love for the Prophet. Yes, you proclaim it. So if he were here in Islamabad, how would he respond to the virus? That's the question. And if I raise my voice, it's because of frustration, because our people no longer think. And I'm so conscious of the fact that Dr. Muhammad Iqbal declared, he said, this ummah stopped thinking 500 years ago. Yes, what a pathetic state. When will you learn to think instead of slavishly following the World Health Organization? This is what our Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam. He said, if you are in a location where the virus is struck, don't leave. And if you are outside, don't enter. Indicating that he was conscious of the fact that the virus can be contagious, meaning it can spread from one person to another. I don't know whether this knowledge was in the world at that time. And therefore, a virus can lead to an epidemic or plague. But what he said amounted to quarantine. So yes, our Prophet, Allah's blessings be upon him, would impose a quarantine. But he would impose the quarantine only when there is adequate evidence that a plague or an epidemic is in place. One sparrow doesn't make a summer. A lovely English expression. So one person falling ill with a virus doesn't make an epidemic, which requires quarantine. You have to have the evidence, and the evidence must not be cooked in a kitchen by people who have lost all contact with truth. The evidence must be accurate before our Prophet ﷺ would recognize that there is an epidemic in a place. What we have with us today is so many cooks cooking a false diet in a kitchen, telling us that the epidemic is here and everywhere. And we, like cattle and like sheep, we follow what they say. Of course, the media, the newspapers, the radio, the television, like sheep and cattle, just continue part and parcel of the brainwashing. That's their status. That's why I don't want to be on television. Not at all. Take it away from me. I have no interest in that. And radio and newspapers. I don't want to be part of that brainwashing machinery that Trump called fake news. He said one more thing. He said, if you are in a place where the virus has struck, and you don't leave, you remain, and you die, you go to heaven. No government can say that. The World Health Organization is miles and miles and miles away from even a sniffing of making a statement like that. No scholar, no university can say that. Only a prophet of the one God can speak like that. That if you die from the virus by staying, not running, you would be shaheed, you would be a martyr, you would enter into heaven. But did he say that you must shut down the market? Would Nabi Muhammad ﷺ, if he's in Islamabad today, and there's a virus, there's an epidemic, and he says, don't leave, stay, would he shut down the market? Do you have any evidence? Would he say you can't go to work and earn your livelihood? You can't go and sell in the market to earn your roti? Would he say you can't go in the masjid to perform prayer? Would he do every single possible thing within the area of the epidemic to try to separate people from each other? Will you not think? No. Our Prophet never said that you should reorganize your life in an area where the epidemic is taking place so that you have something called social distancing. No. Life goes on in the area where the epidemic is taking place. Life goes on. If I am wrong, tell me what is right. So you have no right to disrupt the economy. You have no right to disrupt people's livelihood. Yes, you have the right to impose quarantine so that people from this area are not allowed to leave. And you can enforce that with the armed forces, with the police. And you can prevent people from entering. Yes, you have the right to do that. That's quarantine. You do not have the right to block the masjid. You do not have the right to stop people from going to the masjid to pray. You do not have the right. I'm not speaking only to Pakistan now. I'm speaking to people around the world who have been brainwashed to accept the authority of a government to suspend prayer, to stop people from going to the masjid. From where did the government get this authority? I don't see amongst the Muslims. I don't hear any voices challenging a government's authority. But yes, I see a Christian minister doing that. Yes, a Christian minister is doing that, but we are silent. Challenging the authority of a government to prevent people from going to the masjid to pray. Or worse than that, imposing upon us. Would the Prophet ﷺ allow you to do that? That you must stand up like monkeys in the masjid, like monkeys 3 feet apart? And as soon as you leave the masjid and you all go outside, you forget the 3 feet apart? Would the Prophet, Allah's blessing be upon him, would he do that you are doing? On Judgment Day, you will have to answer for that. And we are warning you, because we reject that. We reject it. If we are not allowed to perform the salat as it ought to be performed, we suspend the salat. And when we suspend the salat, you will have to answer on Judgment Day for that salat that we have to suspend. This is my comment. If the Prophet ﷺ was alive, how would he act? Answer, if he was alive and you are in an area in which the virus takes place, he would say, don't leave. And if you're outside, he said, don't enter. And he says, if you're inside and you die while not trying to leave, you become a martyr and you enter into heaven. And we have so many sheep and cattle and goats and camels now who don't want to go to heaven. No, we want to get the vaccine. We don't want to die. We don't want to go to heaven. That's a pathetic state of people who don't think. I don't trust people who manufacture a virus and wage biological war, so I won't trust their vaccine.